for the opportunity to speak to you today in support of House Bill 597. I am Nancy Capps from Portage County. I graduated summa cum laude from Hiram College with a BA in Business Management and a minor in Economics. My work history spans 30-plus years in corporate business, and I recently retired after 20 years from a large corporation as a tax analyst. I've been studying the Common Core standards for math and English language arts for the past 3 years, and I do not feel that they are rigorous, nor that they enable a child to enter a four-year college when they graduate. Common Core is designed to mandate inferior academic standards and assessments. It appears the agenda is to dumb down our children with inadequate math and English language arts to begin in the elementary grades. Children will not use standard algorithms, a systematic method, or standard to solve a certain kind of mathematical problem. In math, our children are being taught that as long as they are able to show how they arrived at the answer, whether it be right or wrong, it is counted as being correct. My second grade granddaughter's math worksheets request her to add and subtract with boxes, sticks, and numerous other items. The method is what is being emphasized, not the standard algorithms or accuracy. She was to measure with a ruler a picture of a squiggly worm. When I asked her how she could get the right measurement when it wasn't a straight worm, she angled the ruler from the tail to the head and said she was to round it to the next inch. Another family has a second grade honor student whose teacher grouped various children in her class for math studies. The whole group had to complete the problem, and all had to agree that the answer was correct, whether it was or not. This honor student was very frustrated because the answers were not always correct, but she had to agree in order to hand in their worksheets. This is teaching our children that general consensus dictates what is right and wrong, and it is leveling the playing field for the gifted student. This is a one-size-fits-all education policy that assumes every student learns exactly the same way. A good education policy encourages creativity and realizes that students have different learning styles, preferences, and pace. The Common Core standards jeopardize our children's future career choices by preventing high achievers from being able to excel. Parents have lost the ability to choose where to send their children, as most private and parochial schools are aligned with Common Core standards due to the testing, grants for books, lunch subsidies, milk money, vouchers, and much more. The entire tuition is being paid for my granddaughter to attend a Catholic school, which was chosen for their higher standards, only for her now to be taught the same thing as the public school children because of the testing. This is a method to dumb down our children and is taking away their rights for a better education. Families are discouraged, but do not feel they can say anything because their children will be labeled. I worked at the Summit County Fair a week ago and questioned many people who stopped at our booth about their children and what they thought of Common Core. Most of the parents had never heard of Common Core, but when I asked them about their child's math, many became agitated because they could no longer help their children with their math homework in 4th and 5th grades. Why can't they help them with the math? Is it more rigorous? And my answer is no. Some of the convoluted methods employed to solve even basic problems stump college-educated adults and are unfathomable for the kids forced into the Common Core experiment. Children are frustrated and stressed out because they do not understand the methods, let alone the math concepts. Parents are paying to have their children tutored because they can't help them at home. This reminds me of the experimental new math taught in the 70s. Confused by the methods required to solve the problems, my daughter missed the math concepts for multiplication and division. She went to Kent State University for 2 summers to be tutored in basic algorithms. But what do you know? They got rid of new math the next year because many children trying to learn the methods failed the math. I have attended many meetings where parents with children in the elementary grades told how their children are stressed about going to school They beg not to have to go, and how their homework has become laborious many nights, 1 to 1.5 hours. And this includes my second-grade granddaughter. There are kindergartners not wanting to go to school. A second grader whose teacher suggested his parents enroll him in their stress management class because he was so afraid to go to school. There are children vomiting every day and under a doctor's care. Children who think they are dumb and being labeled as having a disability because they can't do the math. A friend's neighbor was called at work by her babysitter, telling her to come home because her third-grade son was on the floor in a fetal position crying, fearing that he would have to repeat third grade again because of what he had been told at school about the third-grade reading test. These same stories are repeated everywhere I go by parents and grandparents. Teachers are afraid to speak out as they have been told, teach it or quit. Don't talk about it to peers, and parents are risking being fired. I have friends who are teachers who have quit because they refuse to teach Common Core, as they know it is not rigorous, but it is inferior and not in the best interest for their children. One of our local school board members has tried to present the facts about Common Core standards, and recently he was told by the superintendent, there is nothing we can do about it. It is mandated for us to teach it, so move on. And he said, we are now discussing the Teachers Follies program. The school board has little to no control over the choice of curriculum, no matter what the Ohio State School Board reports. Very few parents have been told about the curriculum. They only know that something is not right with the math, and their children are no longer eager to go to school. 2 years ago, our previous superintendent said, that's it. Common Core is a fad that will be here for 5 years and replaced with another fad. Our curriculum director said they didn't want to get the parents upset about the changes, so they weren't telling them about Common Core. By implementing Common Core standards, we're beginning to eliminate our parental rights. Once Common Core standards and the testing is fully implemented, there will be no one to question or make changes to the curriculum because it is copyrighted. I've talked to parents who tell me they are not able to ask questions about the curriculum because teachers are not allowed to talk about it. Several have told me that they were not able to see the results of tests their child had taken because it was outsourced to someone else to determine the results. I've attended Ohio State School Board testimony, Ohio House of Representative testimonies, hearings in Columbus, and many other public testimony meetings where the elite, working in the fields of education, psychology, and business, presented the reasons to reject Common Core standards and replace them with real standards that are rigorous. I've done my own research. I've talked to many parents and teachers who are exhausted already from these so-called rigorous Common Core standards. It's only been in the schools for a short time. This is not a Republican or a Democratic issue. It is a bipartisan issue that will destroy our children and our family beliefs if left unchecked. At the Ohio School Board Leadership Council Forum on April the 29th, 2013 in Miamisburg, Ohio, questions were asked of defendants and proponents of the Common Core standards. And this was one of the questions. Why do we need Common Core standards, especially since research shows that national standards have no positive effect on student learning? Education is a state and local responsibility. And here was the answer. It was answered by Tom Gunlock, the VP, Ohio State Board of Education. We have a different society today than in the past. Skilled workmen are needed in manufacturing, not to do the manual assembling of products, but to program and maintain the robots that are actually making the products. Our schools are not producing enough qualified individuals. College graduates are not needed for these jobs, but the students coming out of high school need certain basic knowledge and skills. We need minimal standards that will produce high school graduates who are qualified for the workforce or college studies. I want to know what more the public has to do to convince our Ohio legislators that Common Core standards are not what our children need to prepare them for the real world.